Hello friends, now we are reaching to the last section of our discussion in this wonderful subject of integrated marketing communication. I will be summarizing that in the last session, what have we gone through, what should be our learning, what we should do further, how we should develop our integrated marketing communication skills and so on. But before that, next 3 sessions including this one are related to ethics and evaluation, which are one of the most important elements of integrated marketing communication. Ethics should actually be seen as the most important element of almost everything. And marketing, you would realize in due course of time that if is driven through the parameters of ethics or is benchmarked on the basis of ethics, does wonders. Integrated marketing communication, which is one of the most important elements of marketing, as we have seen. You would recall that at a stage I tried to express that for many people marketing is integrated marketing communication. Hence, we must think in terms of strong ethical benchmarks and considerations required for right communication, because communication is power, as we have seen. So, I will take you through a brief understanding of ethics in association with integrated marketing communication and would be justifying the discussion around the conventions generated in due course of time. I will be using the widely accepted source of International Chamber of Commerce, wherein lots of advertising agencies and organizations, they are the members and have mutually accepted some principles to be followed. So, this is how we will look into ethics and ethical understanding in relation to integrated marketing communication. Now, but first we should think in terms of what is the importance of ethics, why at all this subject has to be discussed. You see, we must be ethical anyways, but in due course of time we have realized many a times that people complain that they have gone through losses, they have found things misleading. These debates have come up in due course of time, and many a times discussions flow around such things. Litigations have been fought, cases have been filed and so on, and then we realize that something somewhere went wrong. I would not be taking you through specific cases or situations of conflicts and so on, because those are there available at relevant sources for for being seen and to be understood with reference to the context. But and laws are definitely there. Those are strong laws, robust, and you see people are taking care of those. Experts, they are involved in that. So that part is well taken care of. But let us focus on ethics, because here some interpretative perspective always keeps on going around us. So, the most important element of ethics being associated with integrated marketing communication is related to extrapolation. For example, there is a message which can be interpreted differently by many different people, and the person who designs that message understands that. So, what should be done? We should think in terms of extrapolating that message, extrapolating the resultants of that message, the perspective around that message. And we would realize that after a particular stage, we are able to visualize the positives and negatives associated with such kind of messages, any message for that matter. This is one of the methods for analyzing that is this right or no. So, You see, importance is that if somehow some mistake is being committed and we try to, you know, visualize the strength of that message in due course of time, we can immediately realize that. This is one of those exercises and benchmarks which can be done in almost any case. For example, you see, when a child is small and young, we try to watch the child's actions. Why? Because we do not want any wrong habit to germinate and develop in due course of time. We try to put off that wrong habit right there. As simple as, mothers, they often tell their children to keep washing their hands. So, it is that if they somehow would have an habit of not washing their hands and you extrapolate, so that would contribute to the ill health of the child in later ages. So, extrapolation is very simple, and we must all have an habit of doing this basically. So, whenever you watch a message, try to visualize that in association with its strength and longevity. The other aspect is impact, and we all understand this impact perspective. It is not always necessary to break it into mathematics and to numbers and go for statistical analysis, that how well it has impacted, or how it has justifiably solved its purpose, or we always are in a situation of analyzing the socio-cultural changes which we are going through as against what we always wanted, as against what it had been. So this is always there. We have elders to talk to who always tell us that this world was like this and this should have been like this kind of. So this is a simple exercise, and we can look into messages with the perspective of the socio-cultural changes those messages can bring in, or I should say, if the messages are not alone capable of bringing in socio-cultural changes, then they can instigate or influence the changes, and we can understand that very well. You see, organizations related to monitoring the communication related ethics are there. There are several organizations which are doing their job very well, and one of those I am putting in front of you, the International Chamber of Commerce. And you visit their website, it is given there, and you would realize that they are doing a wonderful job. And there are several, they have national chapters also, and there are several other bodies which are doing an excellent job. So, laws are there, though ethics is a subject of understanding and adoption. So, laws are to be followed, and we should be very careful in following those. So, but ethics has to be seen with adoption perspective. You see, but why, as I said, why at all we are considering that we should monitor ethical perspective? Why there are possibilities of getting deviated from ethical path? Is it because of the stakes involved? Can the stakes divert our attention, or let us say bring us or bring marketers to a situation wherein they slightly become short sighted? Is it possible? If it is possible, then why are we putting extremely larger stakes is a fundamental question which organizations must address when they are tending to put up those kind of stakes in one go. So that is a very rational kind of a thing to do. You can focus on several organizations comparatively. At this stage, you very well understand how integrated marketing communication works. You can just think in terms of looking into the communications of several organizations and compare the intensity, the efforts, the address, the straightforwardness, or the aspects related to creativity, but still putting up the right thing in front of you. So that comparison can put you in a situation on understanding which organization is trying to come up as what. Is their focus on just gaining the customer numbers, or they are, you see, wanting customer loyalty is one thing. Are they also loyal to the customers? Many organizations they are, that is why they are growing. and they are doing exceptionally well. So, one can just have this kind of a comparison, and see, we should also look at the organizational focus, wherein the communication approach and other relevant parameters, as I am trying to say. What are they being led by? What are their considerations actually? So, that is how we should be looking at the scenario, because this pertinent question would always take our attention towards defining the budget on integrated marketing communication, defining the elements we should be extensively following through our communication, defining the rationality of frequency which the communication should follow, defining the emphasis which communication should give. So, that kind of an element is to be decided through such an understanding which is related to stakes and the importance of ethics, as I just told you. International Chamber of Commerce marketing code, there are some key principles. They have a marketing code of conduct. They have defined a code which is available on their website. So, there are key principles which are stated there, and I will be taking you through those key principles slowly, while emphasizing upon the importance of such principles. These are defined after long deliberations through due exercises, with the support of so many intelligent people around who understand the subject very well. So, we cannot doubt the wisdom of these principles. We very well would understand in due course of time that if somehow we try to follow and adhere to these principles, things would be much simpler in overall. So, you see, the core principles are related to legality, decency, honesty and truthfulness in all our marketing communications. Now, look at these, we should follow the law. So, we should be well aware of law. So, all the marketing communication companies, all the people who are related to marketing communications, they should have support of legal people who understand such laws, and then we will be adhering to the legalities associated. Decency, we all understand decency. Decency of words, decency of visuals, decency of colors. In every way, the communication should be decent. Truthfulness, should I be explaining what truthfulness is? I do not think so. See, and then again it is my favorite example when I talk about such subjects. Mother teaches her children how to be truthful. Watch that and you will understand what truthfulness is. She would never advise her child to lie, and she understands what how to teach truthfulness. So, if somehow we are forgetting that, I would advise all of us to attend sessions by mothers on truthfulness. So it is a very simple kind of, there is no expensive program to be attended, required to be attended, it is simple household programs, kind of. So, marketing communications should respect human dignity, as they say. That again is self-explanatory kind of a perspective. Every human has to be seen with dignity, and our communication should address everyone with dignity. So, the communication should respect human dignity, should not incite or condone any form of discrimination, including that based upon race, national origin, religion, gender, age, disabilities or sexual orientation. Social responsibility. Marketing communications should not without justifiable reason play on fear or exploit misfortune or suffering. Marketing communications should not appear to condone or incite violent, unlawful or antisocial behavior. Marketing communications should not play on superstition. It is very easy to gain attention of people if you incite a fear in communication, and we all understand that. You put up an element of loss. Last session we talked about Daniel Kahneman's and Tversky's research related to loss and gain, we mentioned about that. You would definitely be reading about that, and you understand that we are made like that, our perspective is like that, our understanding is like that. We focus upon losses as against to gains basically, and then that research is very pivotal in terms of putting up things in front of us, how we think. So, understanding this very thing, if we try to put up fear of loss, that is not ethical, and that is what we should understand. That is why these principles have been formed, understanding the human behavior and how humans can direct human behavior. Then comes in honesty and decency. Marketing communications should be so framed as not to abuse the trust of consumers. You see, consumers, they are looking forward to marketers. For example, a student who is taking up a course in a coaching center, he is looking forward to, and right things should be told to him in right perspective. Everything should be clearly stated. That is what real marketing communication is. And there are several examples basically. You see, pharmaceutical and healthcare, for example. And these are sensitive life related things. You even go to a restaurant basically. So no relative discussion should be done. Clearly to be stated in front of customer that what he should be expecting. So that is where honesty perspective comes in, because customer is actually coming forward and putting up trust in you. Many a times customer, they confide in marketers because they are revealing their habits and behaviors, and you see, that should not be exploited. So, as it says that marketing communications should be so framed as not to abuse the trust of consumers or exploit their lack of experience or knowledge. Relevant factors likely to affect consumers' decisions should be communicated in such a way and at such a time that consumers can take them into account. You see, at a moment when customer is in a desperate need of purchasing a thing basically, and someone is told to him where he is very much in a situation to overlook that kind of important information, that is not the right thing. Many a times we see that. Marketing communications should not contain statements or audio or visual treatments which offend standards of decency currently prevailing in the country and the culture concerned. We should respect all the cultures, and we should understand the cultures before we are marketing our products and sending our communications to those cultures and countries, because after all we wish those customers to get associated with us. Why should we be associating customers with us without offering decency to them? Truthfulness. Marketing communications should be truthful and not misleading in terms of price, delivery, provision, exchange, return, repair and maintenance, terms of guarantee, compliance and standards, etc. You see, people spend their hard earned money on things. It should not be the concern that it should end up in sales. The concern should be that people should feel that they have spent the money on the right product and the right service. And that should be the objective of all the marketing communications. Then comes in substantiation. Descriptions, claims or illustrations relating to verifiable facts in marketing communication should be capable of substantiation. In today's era wherein everything is available through different kinds of sources, we still have to think about these things, because somehow there is a deception in many things which are being communicated around us. And you see, I am not denouncing anything here, but this is what we should look for, and many of you would be becoming marketers in times to come. You would be getting associated with personal selling exercises, direct marketing, direct sales and those kind of things, professions which you would be choosing in due course of time. And believe me, if you are truthful, you have that context, you are adhering to principles, your customers would remain associated with you for a very long time. Identification and transparency. The true commercial purpose of marketing communication should be transparent and not misrepresent their true commercial purpose. Hence, a communication promoting the sale of a product should not be disguised as, for example, market research, consumer surveys, user generated content, private blogs, private postings and or on social media, or independent reviews. You see, many a times for supporting our argument, we always say research says, and many a times you may find some messages here and there claiming that, and definitely some research would have said that, but was that research credible? Can all the people whom we are targeting rely on that kind of a research whose basis we are trying to take? We should be very careful in that. Then identity of the marketer. The identity of the marketer should be transparent. Marketing communications should, where appropriate, include contact information to enable the consumer to contact the marketer without difficulty. And marketers should respond whenever the consumer wants to communicate with them. There are many situations wherein we say that we will refund, we will do this, we will do that, but after the sales materializes, customer tends to run after the organization. Things settle down, but that is a painful exercise. And we have found thousands and hundreds of thousands of people complaining about these kind of things and sharing such kind of experiences. So, many of you might have gone through such things basically. Use of technical scientific data and terminology, wherein marketing communication should not misuse technical data, research results or quotations from technical and scientific publications. Remember, we should not be interpreting the researches beyond their stated conclusions in our favor. Marketing communications should not present statistics in such a way as to exaggerate the validity of a product or claim, and there is a thin line between stating it very clearly and slightly exaggerating that by putting up a very creative element and a word associated with that. And we all know and understand this. See, starting from human physical care or consumer products to automotives to tourism, any product or service, education, health, we may find this kind of a thin line available in almost all forms of communication. Further, marketing communication should not use scientific terminology or vocabulary in such a way as falsely to suggest that a product claim has scientific validity. You say whatever is verifiable. Use of free as a word and guarantee as a word. Now, you see, the term free, example free gift or free offer, should be used only where the offer involves no obligation whatsoever, or where the only obligation is to pay the delivery costs, which should not exceed the cost estimated to be incurred by the marketer. These are very, very specific things wherein one can be careful actually. And then the free offer or free gift should be used only in conjunction with the purchase of another product, provided the price of that product has not been increased to cover all or part of the cost of the offer. It should be true in essence when you say free. Then comes in comparisons, denigration, testimonials. You see, marketing communication containing comparisons should be designed that the comparison is not likely to mislead and should comply with the principles of fair competition. This is a very wide area of understanding and interpretation and misinterpretation. So, here there is a lot of scope for developing our understanding. Testimonials we all understand. Then comes in portrayal or limitation of persons and references to the personal property. It should be true. It should not, you see, marketing communication should not portray or refer to any person whether in private or a public capacity unless prior permission has been obtained. Nor should marketing communication without prior permission depict or refer to any person's property in a way likely to convey the impression of a personal endorsement of the product or organization involved. There should not be any exploitation of goodwill. The communication should not in any way take undue advantage of another firm's, individuals or institutions' goodwill in its name, brand or other intellectual property, or take advantage of the goodwill earned by other marketing campaigns without prior consent. There are several detailed descriptions associated with these principles available on this site as well as other portals, wherein several things have been discussed and demonstrated. For example, no imitation. Marketing communication should not imitate those of another marketer in any way likely to mislead or confuse the consumer, for example, through the general layout, text, slogan, visual treatment, music or sound effects. Then there are aspects related to safety and health, data protection and privacy, which is a very important thing. Whole lot of a debate is going around that, and we all understand what is the meaning of data protection and privacy. We should bring in methods which which should be fair and acceptable to all. Environmental behavior, this is a whole lot of a discussion going around, because integrated marketing communication can lead to a situation wherein things would go away from as far as sustainability. Responsibility is a very important element. You see, whatever the nature of the activity, medium or technology, responsibility is shared by all parties concerned, commensurate with their respective role in the process and within the limits of their respective functions. You see, ultimately the message is very clear that customers may get misled. Marketing communication should not let the customers get misled. Marketing communication should follow ethics. You see, communicators should think that if they were the customers themselves, the only thing which one can remember is that we should refrain from doing something which we do not want to be done to us. And that is where the fundamental principle of ethics lies. And it's not complicated to follow. It's very simple. Just focus on telling the truth to the customers and retaining them on the basis of the truth and the right thing. Gain their loyalty on the basis of the right thing, basically, and whole lot of things would come your way as marketers in due course of time. Let's all follow ethics. Let's all adhere to ethical principles. Let's keep on telling ourselves that we should live our lives ethically. With this message, I leave you with lots of thoughts. I'll be coming back to you with a discussion on evaluation part of integrated marketing communication in next session. Till then, goodbye.